recorded live right here in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's time again for Larry's Rants, Raves, and Reviews. Now here's Larry.
Well, folks, welcome back, and I hope that you heard that first episode that we just did with Randy Sams, and I hope you paid attention to it. A lot of folks look at other people and say, well, politics, I'm just not interested. I'm not involved in politics. Let me tell you something. If you're one of those people that are making that statement, you're more involved than what you think, because your lethargy, your laziness, your lack of concern about who your politicians are, you're at fault. I blame you because of the shape of America. Well, like it or not, I didn't ask you to like me. I just asked you to listen to me. I want you to think about that, though. And so, folks, it is very important. We have a very important election here. We're talking to Randy Sams about. He is running for senator of District 16, and his primary will actually start February the 17th, early voting in the Republican primary, February the 17th, and the primary is actually on Tuesday, March the 3rd, and so we need to get out the vote because there are some very special things that's going on and why he needs to be elected, and people like him need to be elected. Randy, welcome back to this episode, and we want to dive right into it because we believe that every vote does matter and people do need to get out and vote.
Yes, sir. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you and Randy and talk about the election process. We talked about, some of the issues that are occurring right now in the political atmosphere, environment here in the state of Arkansas. And now we want to talk about why it's important for the citizens of the state of Arkansas to get out and vote.
That's right.
Okay. I want to start with this. You ever heard of Ben Carson?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great guy.
This is a quote.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We've been conditioned to think that only politicians can solve our problems. But at some point, maybe we will wake up and realize that it was the politicians who created our problems.
Oh, yes.
Ben Carson.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, how do you change that? How can, because you guys know, I know, I've watched your podcast, I watch other podcasts. People like to gripe about things that go on in Washington, D.C. Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? Why are they voting this way? It's the same thing in Arkansas.
Yeah.
But how do you change that, Larry? You got to vote.
Vote.
Right?
Get the right people in there.
First of all, you got to get registered.
Yes.
And by the time you see this podcast and you are not registered, it's too late.
Too late. That's right. February 1 was your deadline.
February 2nd, which would be Monday.
Okay.
It was Monday, February 2nd. It's over with by the time they see this.
Okay.
All right? So if you're not registered to vote, too bad. You're
Yeah.
not going to be able to vote in this primary. Now, you can get registered for the general election, which is in November. But what we want to focus on is somehow try to get people motivated, registered voters motivated to go out and vote for the right person.
Yes.
Whoever they feel like is the right person. All right? There are going to be some people that feel like Kamala Harris was the right person for president.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know why, but they were out there.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a whole lot more of us that felt like that Trump was the right selection.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
Right.
Same thing if you break it down to Arkansas, the Arkansas elections.
Yes.
And now we have primaries. So you have House districts that have elections. And what I mean by primaries is you've got Republican versus Republican or Democrat versus Democrat.
Right.
Okay. So for me, I have a Republican opponent in District 16.
Yes.
Whoever wins that district, whoever wins that election, basically because in Saline County, which is the majority of District 16, Saline County is a Republican county. It is a red county.
Okay.
And election, basically, your next senator will be elected during this upcoming primary. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the Democrat opponent.
Yeah.
But we won't face the Democrat opponent until November.
Yeah.
But again, when you've got a county that is 70-30, 75-25, the majority being Republican,
Mm-hmm.
whoever wins the primary coming up in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
it, will be your senator.
It's not a walk in the park, but it is pretty strong. Yeah.
I mean, unless for some unforeseen reason a red county is flipped blue.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that could happen if what? People don't get out in
Exactly.
vote.
Yes.
All right. Man, but my focus right now is on the primary
Yeah.
because that's my race.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. So we have to find a way to motivate the people to get out and vote. And we've got examples, but and I used this formula with you guys before. If you look at my district, for the Senate districts, there's 35 Senate districts in the state of Arkansas. Each district has about 86,000. For easy math, I'm going to raise that up to 90,000 people.
Okay.
Now, you'd be great to think if all 90,000 people were registered to vote. Doesn't work that way.
Right.
The formula is you take the 90,000,
Okay.
take 60% of that.
Okay.
That knocks us down to 54,000. Those are the ones that are eligible out of that 90,000 to actually be registered voters.
Right.
Great, 54,000. But only 40% of those are actually registered voters. So 40% of 54,000 puts us at around 22,000,
yeah.
23,000.
Wow.
It'd be okay if all 23,000 would actually vote, but only about 20% of those, 25% of those are going to vote. So you're looking at a district that may have close to 90,000 population, but in the primary election, only about 6, 7, 8,000 max are going to vote.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important for us to get the message out to get people off of their couches
Yes.
and get them to go vote for the people and to do your homework. Figure out if you want to vote for my opponent, I hope you have a good reason to vote for him.
Right.
That's your vote.
Yeah.
It's America.
Right.
Right?
Right.
People have fought and died for the right for people to vote. But I would hope that you do your homework, that you would see the big difference between my opponent and myself.
Yes.
Okay? And that's where we've got to do. The good example I just sent to you was what?
Yeah. In Texas. Texas here. State Senate, District 9. It just flipped over to Democrat.
Wow.
I mean, this has probably been held by a Republican for many, many years.
Well, what's the objective?
And
Democrat objective is to what? Turn Texas what color?
oh yeah,
Blue.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Well, they just do. So
Yeah, they did.
They took a heavily, basically a Republican seat, and because people did not go out and vote,
And they
it's
got
now
it.
Democrat.
They got it.
Because in that district, the numbers are this: in that district there are 600,000. Now that's not the
Yeah.
total people that are in that district. That's the registered voters.
Exactly.
600,000. Okay.
Yep.
My district 16 has 86,000. See the big difference there?
yeah,
Everything's bigger in Texas, right?
Right.
yeah,
But 600,000 registered voters, and out of that 600,000, who they had 2 weeks of early voting,
Yes.
only 94,000 showed up to vote.
yes,
All right.
yes,
Now that's what, 12%, somewhere in that range, 15%. All right. So that's what we don't want to see happen here in the state of Arkansas. If you have someone that gets elected and they begin to raise your taxes, vote for the establishment, vote for special interest versus your interest, but if you didn't cast a vote, what do you have to gripe about?
you don't.
You don't.
don't.
Okay, that's a passion of mine. That if we're going to sit around the coffee shop or the donut shop or whatever, and we're going to solve the problems of the world, but I look at Randy and I say, "Who'd you vote for?" And he looks at me and go, "I'm not even registered to vote."
Yeah, yeah,
He may get coffee dumped on him,
right,
okay,
right.
That should not be.
He has no
Yeah.
voice.
Like I said before, there are men and women that have fought for the right for us as United States citizens
Yes,
to cast our vote.
that's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah,
There are people in foreign countries that when they vote, they dip their finger and die, but then they come back and they've got a finger cut off. Okay. But they are willing to die for that right to cast their vote.
yeah.
I don't think you could find very many people here in the
No.
state of Arkansas or across the United States
No.
that would make that sacrifice.
And I'm
Okay?
afraid that a lot of our younger voters, you know, and I mean, because I've talked to so many of them, they say my voice doesn't count, my vote doesn't count. I don't want to be involved in politics because nothing ever changes, and I'm afraid that they have a legitimate argument. I mean, I mean, really, we the people, 78 million votes, put Donald Trump in office, and what have we done? The Republicans are sitting there fighting as hard against him as the Democrats. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, this could be possibly what's going on in Texas.
Yeah.
Is we the people have decided, well, my vote doesn't count. So you've got older folks like me that say, well, screw it, just walk away and not even care because I got out, I voted, I campaigned, I did whatever. But it didn't help. Nothing changed. And so they have a legitimate argument. I'm not going to tell them that they're just stupid and wrong. You have a legitimate argument, but when is it that you give up in life? You got to suck it up and keep moving, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't get a participation trophy.
There you go.
Right?
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
So you got to participate.
I told my kids, if you ever bring home a participation trophy, I'm going to take it, and you and I are going to go out there on the drive, and I'm going to take a can of gasoline, and we're going to burn it together.
Or a sledgehammer before you put the gasoline on. Right? So that's, we have to look at this and say, we have issues that affect my district.
Yes.
We have issues that affect the state of Arkansas that people need to be made aware of. Okay. You can say they just don't care, but the way I look at it is people are too focused. Us four and no more.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But if it starts coming knocking on your door and you're wondering why my taxes are raising or why my utility bills are twice as much as they were, that's what's happening in Virginia, right? Is it West Virginia or Virginia? Where they just put the new governor in there. And I saw a YouTube deal or something where a lady was crying in her car that her electric bill went from $200 a month to over $600.
Wow.
You voted for a Democrat. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But see, when it actually hits my front door, or hits my pocketbook,
right,
or my check, then they go, "Oh my gosh, why did this happen?" Well, it happened because you stayed on the couch, and watched The Price is Right or whatever show you like to watch, okay, and you didn't go out and vote.
That's right.
You didn't cast your vote.
Yeah,
you don't even get a participation trophy.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't listen to a lot of people like that. I will talk to them. But if they haven't made the effort to go register, you can do it online. It's not a big deal.
No,
you
it's
go
not.
to your county clerks, wherever you want to, and then you do your homework and you look at this candidate. You know, Arkansas can easily be flipped blue.
Yep.
When did we flip red? 2013, 2014? How many years ago was that? 12?
Yeah.
All right. So you guys, we're about the same age.
Right.
Larry may be a little bit older than you and I are.
Wow.
But
This is Randy's last visit.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But we probably grew up, our parents, grandparents, in-laws, whatever you want to say, family members were probably Democrat.
Well, see, I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and raised in Kansas, and everybody there was practically Republican, or at least everybody I associated with. And I moved down here, and it was all Democrat.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? What have I moved into?
And then you had some brave people that actually stood up and said that they were going to run as Republicans.
Yeah.
And one or two of them started winning. And then you had more people, you know, Reagan came around.
Yeah.
And you had Reaganomics, and you had the Reagan Republicans. Then you had them, you know, so you've got to look at that is that you can't sit here and say, well, we are such a red state. I don't consider us a red state. I think we're purple. Okay. Because as we've stated in the past, because Arkansas has allowed open primaries, which means that someone that's in a red district, if you're a Democrat by heart, by philosophy, by your beliefs, you know if I register as a Democrat, I'm going to lose. So I have the ability to go register as a Republican. But at heart, I'm a Democrat.
Right.
And I get elected, Randy, and I get in the Senate or the House, which way am I pretty much going to vote? Am I going to vote Republican? No, if I'm a Democrat at heart, I'm probably going to vote with the Democrats.
You'll be a rhino.
Yeah, there you go.
And
that's where the phrase came from, all right?
Well, I think we've pandered to so many of the voters that we now don't have an election day. We have an election month.
Yep.
It's absolutely ridiculous that Americans do not participate in the elections better and care more about our elections. We can't even get them out on a special day. And we've talked about everything about making Election Day a national holiday to where everybody gets the day off and we all can go and vote or, do something about it. But we keep doing absolutely nothing about it.
Except gripe.
Yeah.
Make noise about why the world is upset,
Right.
why it's the way it is right
Would you
now.
all agree with me that Americans don't like to be inconvenienced?
True.
Well, right.
Yeah.
We don't like to be inconvenienced. Oh, well, what? You want me to take off early or you want me to go after I've worked hard all day, Larry, and go to the polls and vote? Do you know that I had to stand in line for an hour?
And it was
just to
raining
vote?
that day.
Yeah.
Or it was snowing that day.
Yeah. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. Some of the excuses, it's almost as good as the dog ate my homework kind of a thing. But Americans have got to turn around this thing of not wanting to be inconvenienced, and we're pandering to them. I mean, what are we going to do? Give them 6 months to vote? And that's where all
California.
of the... Yeah.
To count the votes? Yeah,
we
to count the
let them
votes.
mail in ballots, and the reason that, and now we're complaining about that because of all the theft and all the
Fraud.
the fraud. Exactly. I mean, how about narrowing it down to an election day? And now we've got electronic machines that we say can't be trusted.
Mm-hmm.
I like the early voting.
I know you do. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with the early voting, but I do have an issue with it taking them 3 months to count those votes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay?
Sure.
Because when I was one of my earlier races, when I was running for JP of Saline County, I saw what that early voting meant to people that were elderly and were handicapped.
Yeah.
Okay. It actually made it, I guess when I say easier, they didn't have to stand in line.
Right.
The lines weren't out the door around the corner for people to vote. So I understand that. Okay. But I don't understand the fact that people are not even willing to do that during that 2-week period.
Yeah.
District 9 in the state of Texas, which was a red district,
Yeah.
600,000 registered voters.
Right.
They had the same 2-week early voting period that we will have here in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 weeks to cast your vote. I don't think anybody has an excuse. If you're registered to vote and you have 2 weeks to cast that vote,
Right.
why did you not take advantage of that?
Well, it's got to be where it counts too. I mean, I voted early in Pulaski County, early voting, and my vote didn't count.
Why?
It actually did not count because of the fraud and and all the hanky pank that was going on. We went into it and talked to Michael White about it. He did an investigation on it. He said he could have filed a lawsuit, but it would have cost him $200,000. He didn't have that. But my vote didn't count because of the hanky-panky stuff that was going on and all that election thing. And you can go back and look at all the news stuff, and it was on the news about all that. So they've got to get the fraud taken care of everywhere. And Trump's got to do it, or else that's what's going to be facing, I think, the biggest problem in 2 years is the fraud that's going on, and he hasn't done anything about it.
Well, let me go back and I want to
ahead.
make a confession, because back when the 2020 election was stolen from President Trump, I told Randy, I said, I'll never vote in another election. Never in my life. It's done. It's over. Screw it all. I'm never going to go and vote. That was it. And I mean, for, I don't know, probably a year or better, he said, Larry, you're wrong. You can't do that. You can't do that. I said, well, watch me. I mean, we'll go crappie fishing. I'm not going to waste that time.
We wouldn't have had this show.
There you go. We wouldn't have had this show, would we?
There you go.
It's all your fault. I keep telling you that. But the problem, or the fact is that other people feel that way. because they get tired. Americans get tired of trying the same. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
Okay, I saw something on the news the other day about somebody put a bill up that said you've got to have photo ID to vote nationwide. Mm-hmm. That's all I saw on it. I didn't know if it's passed or did it get before Congress? Or did it die? Have you heard anything on that?
I don't know if they voted on it or not, but I mean, I know there's some opposition to it, even from the Republican side. Okay. Here's what we have to find a way. There are a lot of people that are proponents of the electronic machines. I'm not. There are a lot of people that want us to go to paper ballots, which is Trump's agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My deal is, what's the best way for us to actually verify voter intent? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if I push a button on a computer, somebody has programmed that computer to maybe do something with my vote.
That's it.
If I have a piece of paper and I color in that circle, that's my intent. Mm-hmm. Which one's easier to switch?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Right.
So for me, voter integrity to me means when you can verify voter intent.
Right.
Okay. And until we get to that point.
Well, it used to be you used to go in and have your ballot mark. You take the pen and mark through it, and then the electronic would read it. But you had a way to go backtrack in case there was any hanky-panky going on. You could go back and see and actually go down to hand counting, which is a whole lot better to hand count a mark than it is a hanging chad.
Yeah.
Well, now they're testifying. I think it was in South Carolina in the 2020 election. They said that they definitely saw ballots going into the machine that was clearly marked for Trump, and then it would flip it to Biden. And I forget how many, I think it was like almost 70,000 that they literally witnessed. Now, okay, what is it, 2026? Now, 6 years later, someone's finally coming up saying, yeah, I witnessed that, but they forced me to do it, okay? And so that's one thing. The other thing is I've seen a lot of posts over on X that Tennessee says that they are one of the most secure and cleanest states for elections because they require voter ID and citizenship papers to be brought to the voting booth in order for you to get in to vote. You have to carry them in.
And voter ID's fine. But I have my driver's license that proves who I am.
Yeah, now you got
the
when
I
one.
push the button,
the good one that lets you get on
the little
plane
star
now.
or whatever.
Yeah, lets you get on the
pay
plane.
the 45. But what I'm concerned about is, okay, I am who I say I am. Mm-hmm. Okay, now you take me in front of the machine, and I'm pushing the buttons.
Right.
Okay, my candidate.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What verification do I have that my candidates that I voted for?
Right.
There's not.
I have not been able to read barcode. Can you? Can you read barcode?
Not at all.
Well, until we can, it's not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though that little piece of paper may show my candidates, the voting is in that barcode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what I look at. And you talked about number one security. Arkansas, a lot of our politicians like to promote the fact that we were rated number one in the Heritage Foundation.
Okay.
As far as voting integrity.
Okay.
Guess who was number one during the 2020 election, 2020 election? Georgia.
You're kidding. Oh my God.
By the same Heritage Foundation.
You're
voted
serious?
them. No, yeah.
Wow.
Look it up.
Oh my God.
But yet here we in Arkansas, we want to pat ourselves on the back, toot our own horns, that we're voted number one by the Heritage Foundation in voter security. Well, that same foundation said Georgia was the most,
and they're extremely
in 2020.
Conservative, right?
Yeah. So that it doesn't really matter. I think what they look at is does it vote for ID? But we know what kind of fraud took place in the state of Georgia.
Right.
So that Heritage Foundation ranked #1 to me doesn't mean a
and
whole
because
lot.
of all the fraud, because of the big, snowball coming down the hill that just keeps getting bigger and bigger, it brings us back to our original thought of this entire show is people have decided my vote doesn't count. We've got to get the people back out to vote, just like in Texas. 60,000 people didn't show up, and now all of a sudden the Democrats have stolen that seat. They didn't steal it. It was given to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'll change my terminology. It was given to them.
Yeah.
Because of the lethargy of the people that wouldn't get out and vote. And so it's just like in your district that you're running for. And I know you've worked your butt off.
Yes.
You've got signs everywhere. I was out there the other day to pick something up, and I saw signs everywhere around and all of that. And yet, if people don't get out and vote for you,
Well,
we got a problem.
special interest. I don't have the money. Maybe Randy does, but I don't have the money to come against a special interest, large PAC, super PACs. Okay. So, and the average citizen here in the state of Arkansas in District 16 doesn't either. So how do I combat that? You got to vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're in favor of a candidate who obviously has the support of, let's say, some of the establishment folks, okay, politicos, that has received hundreds or thousands, tens of thousands of dollars from PACs supporting his campaign. And then you have my campaign where, if you look at it, my donations have come from grassroots citizens, like those of us in this room right now. Okay. My differentiation is this. Again, I believe that the people need to have representation.
Yeah.
And not the special interest. Like I said earlier, the seat does not belong to an individual. It does not belong to me. It does not belong to special interest. It should not belong to special interest. But if the people don't vote correctly, that seat will continue to belong to a special interest, the highest bidder. Okay? So whose voice are they going to listen to? That's what's wrong with politics now.
That's right.
That's why people feel like that my vote doesn't count.
And Randy, your District 16, and I believe I alluded to this last podcast that we were together, is the fact that they are a lot of people that used to live in Pulaski County, a lot of people that used to live in Little Rock.
Yes, sir.
And they hated our high taxes, our filthy streets, our school systems that a lot of them suck. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not making any friends and influencing people here, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. They said enough's enough, and they packed up and they moved to Saline County, to your district. Now, if they sit back and they're too lazy to get out and vote, your district is going to deteriorate and be the next Pulaski County or the next Little Rock, Arkansas.
Well, I want them to get registered to vote, but I also want them to educate themselves on who they're voting for.
That's right.
That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Educate.
Yeah.
Why am I different than my opponent?
Yeah.
Why is my opponent different than Randy Sams? You educate. It's your vote to cast.
And I would be the first one to admit, and I don't know if you guys are this honest, but I will. You go into the voting booth and I look at some of these names and I'm like, dang, I don't know who they are. I don't know what they stand for, but I like this name better than the other name, so I'm going to vote for them. It's either that or I leave it blank.
Right.
But one way or the other, I didn't do my homework. I didn't do my due diligence. And see, that's part of our conversation last episode about the prisons.
Yes, sir.
Arkansas government did not do their due diligence, and they've now bid off a $3 million chunk of land and $1 million culvert that you talked about. So we're $4 million into this thing, and we don't even know what we're doing. We're scratching our heads, our heads up our butt. We can't even figure out why this prison is wanting to go in there.
And no one will talk about it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Board of Corrections, they've had public presentations where the Board of Correction members did not show up to answer questions.
Well, the head of the board of directors, didn't he come from, what was it, Arizona?
Yeah.
And they were happy to get rid of him because
he came from Arizona, and the governor hired him. Okay. Well, I guess he was hired as the Board of Corrections. Okay. And then he stepped down from that. I don't know if he got terminated, whatever it was, but the governor hired him, and he's now making over $200,000 a year.
And he's the one that didn't show up.
He's refused to answer any questions when it comes to a public forum.
And the guy that's now in that office, they say is dumber than dirt, and
the guy
be in the office.
The young man who has that position now, who's the chair of the Board of Corrections, was the deputy chief of staff for the governor. And he got hired. He stepped down from that and got hired from one of the big lobby firms.
Yeah.
So now he's a lobbyist.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was one of the newly selected by the governor. She picked 3 people and put them on the Board of Corrections. And those 3 are now in the leadership positions. Brand spanking new, not like they'd been in that board for 5 years, 6 years. Brand spanking new, and now I'm the chairman.
Now, guys, from our conversation here, it sounds like we're feeding the people the very reasons why they say, well, see, my vote doesn't count. I'd go to the poll and vote, but does it really count? They have a legitimate argument with us. I mean, seriously. And I know this just hit my brain, so I might as well just let it out the door. My dad used to have this old saying, Big Norm, they called him, okay? Big Norm. Dad, this one's for you. He used to say, that boy don't know sick 'em from suck 'em. You ever heard that term?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard others that basically mean the same thing, but we can't say on the air, right?
No.
Oh, it drove my mother nuts. She absolutely, it was infuriating for him to say that. But I got to tell you, that lands pretty good with some of these politicians, most of these politicians. Yeah. So when you say, I don't want to be a career politician, I'm pretty happy with you.
Yeah.
Because I say get in and get you a couple of terms and then get out.
Well,
I really
we have to make changes, and you have to get the right people in those seats. Someone that's going to make a stand and say, we got to get it back to the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Say Arkansas first.
Yeah.
Okay. We got America first. So let's say Arkansas first.
I like that.
At what point in time are we going to get the people in those seats that are going to represent the constituents of the state of Arkansas?
And folks, I've got to say that we may not have given you any concrete evidence of why your vote would count. We may have not just set in cement something that says you need to get out and vote, but here's what I can tell you. Our hearts are right. Our minds are focused on the fact that this is the type of man you need to get out and vote in the primary, because District 16, it honestly is a very staunch Republican place. And if you don't get out and vote for the correct person, the very thing that happened in Texas could happen to you. And you could get a rhino in there. You can get a yes person in there. You can get a Democrat in there. If you don't get out and vote for a guy like Randy Sams and put him in office to where you are being represented, not all this PAC money, not all these people that he owes favors to because of all the millions of dollars. And trust me, all this money gets poured into these candidates, and it's not for free. There is a price tag. You don't come into my restaurant and just say, well, I don't want a piece of pie, but I'm going to pay you for one anyway. No, you don't do that. I go into a nice restaurant and I leave a tip. And I tip well. Randy, you and I have talked about we're big tippers. You know why? Because we appreciate the service that we got, number one. Number two, if we really like you, we're going to ask for you next time you come back, and you're going to remember us.
Right.
So it's just like the politicians. Their pockets got padded money. They got elected. Now, what are they going to do for the person that padded their pocket and got them there? Folks, you got to dance with who brought you to the dance, as the old saying goes. So I'm just going to tell you, you need to get out and vote. Those of you in District 16, get out and vote for a guy like Randy Sams, and I hope that you will have a great day.